Hello, everyone, and welcome to another TVG talk. My name is Paco Treviño from the TVGamers, and today I'm joined by Lauro Chapa.
Hey guys.
Also joining me today is Carlos Cáceres,
Hey guys.
and today we'll be discussing a very different topic from what we usually talk about. We know that we sometimes can be a little bit Nintendo centric, but today we're going to talk about a classic from the early 2000s and late 90s, Crash Bandicoot. This is a series that was very fun to many gamers of the PS1 era, and there's been some rumors lately that it might be on its way to make a big comeback to the gaming industry. In this discussion, we're going to be talking about certain things that have been coming out, like certain toy announcements and certain teases that PlayStation has made in their social media. So, well, let's start with a particular image that PlayStation's Middle East official account did. Uh, it's a picture of Crash Bandicoot sporting a new design, and the particular thing is that it has a little text that translates vaguely to something like uh, one of the most wanted characters, and it says, "When are you coming back, Crash?" So let's start with you, Lauro. What do you think of this image?
I think it's very strange. Like, why did only PlayStation Middle East tweet it out?
Yeah, I know it seems kind of random, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's very random.
Yeah, and the fact that, like you said, it's just them, and it's a message that it's not. For some reason, I feel it's strange that it's not in English. I know it's obvious that because it's in Arabic, but it's kind of strange how it's so vague. It's so like it's not promoting anything. So it makes me wonder. I mean, is this some sort of stealth marketing? Like, oh, they messed up, but they didn't. You know, they're making
Yeah.
they're making noise about Crash Bandicoot. You know.
I think they maybe are. Crash is missing from today's gaming industry.
Yeah, it's like Sonic's current position, but like tenfold.
Yeah.
Carlos, what do you think of the image released by PlayStation of the Middle East?
Well, I think as you said before that it's quite real. Let's say that, but I'm not really sure about how much of, let's say, security these images give us about, let's say, Crash coming back. Because at the end, don't you think it's a little too, let's say, random to be like hidden, let's say, publicity or facts?
Well, I think that my reasoning behind saying that it could be an example of stealth marketing is that uh, they create conscience about the character, and people start talking about, hey, look at how uh, PlayStation of the Middle East messed up about this message that was not supposed to come out, and people start talking about, hey, maybe Crash will come back, and it would be different from, say, starting with a trailer for the new Crash Bandicoot, because people will be skeptical about it. Instead, if they start hearing from fans and people start learning this new character, for people that are 12-year-olds do not know who Crash Bandicoot is. They were not alive when he was popular. So yeah, I mean
Oh
it's been a
well,
while. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean
that may be
it's
a possibility. And as you say, well, we are doing a video about this, so
yeah, it's definitely working if that's the case. Going forward with examples of how Crash Bandicoot might be coming back. There's the obvious presentation, the revelation of PlayStation 4 back at E3, I believe 2014,
Yeah.
and it was pretty interesting because you saw all these IPs from PlayStation, and then you suddenly see a sign that has a little picture of a silhouette, I should say, of Crash Bandicoot, and that was very subtle, very small. A lot of people noticed it, It was pretty cool to see, but that could have been just a nod to their past. It wasn't necessarily an announcement of anything. But another thing that has reinforced these rumors is I'm gonna say something about myself. I'm a huge collector of like video game toys or whatever, like collectibles. And I was very aware of announcements that were made at Toy Fair 2016, that actually was this past week. And there is this toy manufacturer called NECA that they announced a PlayStation line that was coming out, and their 7-inch line. They're about $25 or so, and they were like chillantly saying, yeah, Nathan Drake, Sackboy, Kratos, and Crash Bandicoot, and everyone was like, what? Crash Bandicoot? Like, is he a PlayStation character again? Like, it was kind of weird to see it, but it's pretty interesting because I don't think that they would release a toy for a character that like won't have a scheduled announcement, soon.
Of course.
So Carlos, what do you think this toy announcement might mean? Does that mean that we're going to have a little toy to accompany a new game?
Well, as you said before, I think that this is, well, it will be a key, let's say, marketing activity, because it will be like pretty strange if they just release a toy for a character that has been, let's say,
Dead.
I was going to say on, let's say, lost or
100% dead.
absent, but
There's no way around it.
Yep.
that is a pretty good description. So it will be like a suicide product if they release it just like that. So it's a, let's say, a pretty good hint.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I do get that, for example, the adult collectors do know Crash Bandicoot, but if you ask me, right now, who would I rather get if I had $20 or $25? Nathan Drake or Crash Bandicoot? Being a huge fan of both, I would honestly go with Nathan Drake. I mean, it's
He's not dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I see some worth to it, and it's not like the thing with Crash is that he has not been. I don't know how to put this. Immortalized by his past games. Like, it's not like Mega Man that he can live off of the past of the NES and sell the Legacy Collection or something like that. No, Crash Bandicoot doesn't have that. I think that he is not old enough.
Maybe they should, right?
Yeah, maybe they should. Totally. I mean, but for example, maybe do a collection if you're also gonna do a new game to sort of ease people into your series.
Yeah, like 1 through 3.
Otherwise, I'm sorry?
Like 1 through 3. The Crash
Yeah,
games.
yeah, definitely. And the other thing about the difference between Mega Man and Crash Bandicoot is that even if Mega Man has had, maybe he had 9 and 10 like 5 years ago, he appeared in Smash, like he has been somewhere, Crash was in a mobile game like 3 years ago, so yeah,
and I think he was set to appear on the sequel of PlayStation Stars Battle Royale, but we all know that game is not happening.
Yeah, that thing. It's just like when it's one of those things that Sony tried to be like Nintendo the last generation. Like they tried to push Sackboy as their Mario, in putting him in racing games and little side spin-offs, and they also tried their Smash, and none of those things worked. But yeah, I think that Crash is not appearing in that game because it won't happen. And that actually would explain why he wasn't, for example, in Smash. I mean, obviously, Mega Man or Pac-Man or Ryu are obviously better options, but I think that if Sony bought Cloud also, yeah. But I think that if Sony bought back Crash, it automatically becomes like Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
That it's not an option. anymore for Nintendo, because it's their straight head-on competitor, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think that we could see a few things from Crash if they try. The problem that I see with this is that, you know, if we do get a new game, will we see, say, a remake, or will we see nuts
New
and
game.
bolts fiasco,
New
or
game.
you know?
I think we're gonna see an announcement on the next C3.
I think it's possible.
I will bet money on it.
You know, my only worry is that we might be seeing something like, you know, when we were promised Banjo 3 and we got Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts,
Yeah.
you know,
Which is
or
not a
when we
bad
were
game, but it's
promised.
not a banjo game.
Yeah, it's not a bad game, but it's like you said, not a Banjo game. Or when we were promised the Sonic Adventure 3 and we got Sonic 06. Yeah,
Ooh, that's a bad game.
Oh no.
that
Well,
happened.
I think that even though he's been dead for a while, I think that for many of us, Crash Bandicoot it's still a what let's say great character. With it, well, for a few of us, let's say, as myself, I played some of his past games. I think that if they come back with him, they have to do, let's say, a remake, but with obviously new content, and let's say they have to give the character its personality, and they have to use some of the elements of their previous games. I don't know what you think about this.
Are are you talking about a reboot? Because Sonic Boom is has a word with you. You know, wants a word with you.
Oh
No,
no no
he
no
said a
no.
remake.
You're right. That doesn't
Don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I
always
guess
works, but
that they could
who
try.
knows?
Yeah, who knows? I guess that they could try to make a different type of game, because really the type of game that Crash Bandicoot appeared on, that kind of 3D platformer, is not really a thing anymore.
But
I
they're
think that
reviving,
he could
right?
take ideas.
You know,
Yeah,
the
but
Ratchet and Clank new game is coming out on April. Ukulele is coming out in October. A Hat in Time is coming out some
yeah,
day.
but those are kind of like collectathons. What I'm trying to say is, Crash was in this weird pseudo. It was a 3D platformer, but it was kind of linear, but
It was
not
like
like
Mario,
3D.
right?
Like Super Mario 3D World was linear in a very interesting way, but this one, it was really straightforward when you look at it from a point of view perspective. You know, like you had like almost like tracks,
Yeah.
and I don't think that would work. Like you say, they could try something like they did on the Wii, which was kind of a collectathon. Uh, but I think that
Stick with the
they
old
could
stuff.
take a few lessons from Mario Galaxy. You know, where you try new ideas. You know, something of a punchline.
So
that
where is
wouldn't-
Mario though?
I'm sorry,
Where is Mario?
Mario. You know, you mean 3D Mario?
Yeah.
Well,
The
there's
king.
3D World.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great game. It just wasn't Mario Galaxy 3. You know. Uh, but I think that Crash could really go and do something different, because Crash has a lot of personality, but
Yeah.
it's a very goofy character. I think that they could really exploit that. Maybe I don't want to say that it will be like adult humor or something, but maybe try to exploit a little bit the personality in humoristic situations. You know. Kind of like Conker's Bad Fur Day, but maybe more family friendly. You know, I think that it could work. I mean, if Conker's not doing it anymore, somebody might try that. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Laura, you mentioned that you predict an E3 announcement.
It's happening.
Do you think
man.
that?
I think it's happening.
Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, in the Sony press conference, everybody's gonna go nuts with the new Crash Bandicoot announcement, and I think it's going to be kind of not a collectathon, but in that gameplay.
Okay, you know, open world.
Open world,
kind of
like
thing.
Mario 64, kind of.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I think it's possible, and it could work like Microsoft did last year with Rare Replay. That
Hmm.
they had like the new Halo and all these new things, and they had a blast of the past with Rare Replay. Maybe Sony could try that with
You know
Crash
what?
Bandicoot.
You
I'm
know
sorry.
how they did like Uncharted remake of the first three games and then release the fourth one. I think they maybe can do that. First release like a pack of the first three games, a remake of
Right.
course, and then release the next one.
Yeah, and they maybe could even give them away on the PS service, the PSN
Yeah,
Plus service,
yeah,
as a tease for what could become of the series, and
of
then
course.
announce the
Yeah, maybe.
the actual full retail title. Maybe as a gateway game,
Hmm.
to what they want to. So I don't know. It's just an idea. And Carlos, do you think that this game could happen at all?
Yes. Well, we have some proofs, some hints that shows that this is actually possible. And as I said before, the character itself, I think it has a lot of potential, and some of us has have seen him on the past, and I didn't actually thought about it, but I think that the 3D platformer may be a little bit dead, or maybe not that used anymore. So they could, well, how do I say this? As Laura said before, they could maybe do an open world. I think will be, well, pretty exciting to see Crash Bandicoot again, collecting things and exploring the world around. I definitely think it's a possibility, and I
Yeah,
at least I
I
would.
yeah, I think it's a possibility that we might see something. I mean, the hints are there. Uh,
The only thing I'm not really sure about is that if they release, let's say, previous games like to announce him, uh, it must be, as you said before, it will be or either low cost games or free, because maybe there are just an introduction for the new game. Don't you think so?
yeah, I think that that's a definite possibility. Like when what was it? When Skyward Sword came out, Nintendo gave out the four swords for the DSi, and it was an enhanced port and everything, and it was to kind of hype people for a new Zelda game, and they do it all the time. When Smash Brothers came out, they released some discounts, and I believe that PlayStation has also done it with some games that when they get a sequel, they make the past ones really cheap. And if you look at it in with the Uncharted trilogy, they are newer games, so they weren't going to give them away for free. But the ports, the trilogy, it's actually a pretty good deal. It's the games are relatively cheap, for the content that you get.
Yeah,
So
and well, they are pretty fun also. The only I
yeah,
just hope that they do it right, because they have a lot of potential in this. But in the same way, we could have a Sonic Boom or O
Whoa, whoa,
06
whoa.
if they, let's say, messed up bad. You know?
do you think? Yeah, do you think that Naughty Dog will make the game?
Of course.
Mm, that's a
Who else
hard
is going to make it?
question.
Sega.
What?
Who else
Say,
would make it?
uh, I don't know. Have you played Unravel?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, smaller studios can make really high quality titles, visually. So I wouldn't be too surprised if they gave a smaller project like Crash Bandicoot to a smaller team, maybe to test them out.
And the indie developers are now, or smaller studios are now making the platformers, right? Like
Yeah,
Ukulele, Ahead in Time.
yeah, like Mighty Number Nine. It's a very very small team. If you look at, for example, the people that make Call of Duty, they have like four
Yeah.
studios making those things.
Hmm.
So yeah, platformers are kind of how to put it? They are kind of like a more tried and true thing, I guess. So they are relatively easy to make for a smaller team. I'm really worried if it's the Crash Bandicoot from say Naughty Dog or if it's the Crash Bandicoot from Activision.
Ooh.
But let's see. Let's see which uh, will come out coming back if at all.
Yep.
Well, do you guys have any closing thoughts on this Crash Bandicoot rumor?
What's happening?
It's happening. Yeah, I think so too because I mean there's too many signs at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos, what do you think?
I think there's a pretty high possibility. I'm not really sure yet if it's really happening, but I think, I
Please.
mean, it's, let's say, his own game by himself. But I think that he's coming back in some way. We are already seeing, let's say, seeing it on toys, and maybe, well, let's hope that if he comes back, that he comes back on a great game.
Yeah, and you touched on something kind of interesting. Like, what if he comes back on a party game or something? But let's hope that this means
Or with
actually a big fight.
Spyro.
What?
Damn. With Spyro. Spyro the Dragon.
Oh, he's
Uh,
more dead than Bandicoot.
They're actually
yeah,
the same guy.
yeah. They tried to make Spyro. They spin Spyro off in Skylanders, and Skylanders took over that franchise. So
Yeah.
I think that poor thing is not coming back anytime soon.
Okay.
Well, guys, I think that's all for this TVG talk. Thank you for joining us today. This has been Paco Treviño, and today I was joined by Lauro Chapa
Thanks, guys.
and Carlos Cáceres,
See ya, guys.
and we're the TVGamers. Until next time, bye bye, guys.